They stepped into the spotlight, expecting applause, not the moment everything stopped. Fame, pressure, and hidden strain collided in ways few ever saw coming. This story uncovers 10 unforgettable performers whose final moments unfolded live, revealing how sudden fate can strike even under the brightest stage lights. Number 1. Miriam Makeba. On November 9, 2008, she collapsed during a benefit concert in Italy after singing her final song. Medical teams later confirmed that the cause was acute heart failure brought on by years of physical strain. The moment unfolded quietly, but shockingly, in front of an audience who moments earlier had been applauding her voice. Her passing on stage reflected a life spent performing until the very end. Miriam Makeba was known worldwide as Mama Africa, but American audiences embraced her as a symbol of cultural pride and musical authenticity. Her breakthrough came in the late 1950s, when her performances introduced African music to mainstream United States listeners. Songs like Pata Pata became global hits. She was not just a singer but a bridge between cultures, influencing generations of musicians and shaping how African artistry was perceived in popular music. Her real life was marked by exile, loss, and resilience. Born in South Africa, she was forced into exile after speaking out against apartheid at the United Nations. Unable to return home for decades, she built her career abroad while carrying deep personal pain. She endured the loss of her daughter and years of separation from her homeland. These experiences shaped her voice, giving her performances emotional depth and moral weight. In her later years, Makeba faced increasing health challenges but refused to slow down. She continued touring and appearing at political and humanitarian events despite exhaustion and age. Friends noted her determination to keep using her voice for justice. Family members later shared that performing gave her purpose. The concert where she collapsed was itself an act of solidarity, reflecting how closely her health struggles were tied to her lifelong commitment. The global reaction was immediate and profound. Artists, activists, and cultural institutions mourned the loss of a voice that carried both beauty and conscience. Tributes poured in from across the United States and beyond, honoring her courage and influence. Miriam Makeba was remembered not only for how she sang, but for what she stood for. Her legacy remains a testament to art, resistance, and unwavering dignity. Number 2. Tiny Tim. On November 30th, 1996, he collapsed during a performance at a women's club in Minneapolis. The event occurred only minutes after he had finished singing. He was taken to the hospital, where doctors confirmed heart failure as the cause. The incident shocked those present, as he had insisted on performing despite visible strain. His passing marked a rare and unsettling moment of a performer leaving the stage for the final time. Tiny Tim became an unforgettable figure in American popular culture during the late 1960s. His falsetto voice, ukulele, and haunting rendition of Tiptoe Through the Tulips made him an instant television sensation. Appearances on major variety shows turned him into a symbol of eccentric creativity. He was not just a novelty act, but a performer who challenged conventional ideas of stardom. Audiences remembered him as fearless, strange, and deeply sincere. Behind the unusual persona was a man devoted to music history. Born Herbert Corey, he memorized thousands of early American songs and treated performance as preservation. His childhood was marked by isolation and intense focus on old records and radio. Fame arrived suddenly and faded quickly, creating emotional and financial instability. Yet, he never abandoned music. Even when mainstream attention disappeared, he continued performing wherever he was welcomed. In the years before his passing, Tiny Tim's health had significantly declined. He had suffered a serious heart episode months earlier, but chose to return to the stage. Family members later revealed that doctors had warned him to stop performing. He ignored the advice, believing music was essential to his identity. Witnesses recalled his determination that night. The strain of performance, combined with existing heart damage, proved too much. The reaction was a mix of sorrow and reflection. Fans revisited his recordings, while musicians praised his authenticity and courage. Cultural commentators noted how he lived entirely on his own terms. Tiny Tim left behind more than a novelty image. He represented devotion to art without compromise. His legacy endures as a reminder that individuality can leave a lasting imprint. Share your thoughts in the comments about how you remember him. Number 3. Sib Hashian. On March 22, 2017, he collapsed during a performance on a cruise ship traveling through the Caribbean. Medical staff on board responded immediately, but he was pronounced deceased shortly afterward. Doctors confirmed heart failure as the cause. The incident occurred mid-performance, stunning fellow musicians and passengers. His passing came without warning, ending a night that had begun as a celebration of classic rock music. Sib Hashian was best known as the drummer for the rock band Boston, one of the most successful American rock groups of the 1970s. The band's debut album became a defining sound of the era, filled with polished harmonies and powerful instrumentation. Hashian's drumming helped shape that signature sound. Although often working behind the spotlight, his contribution was essential. Millions of American listeners grew up with songs that carried his rhythm. His life before fame was shaped by discipline and persistence. Born into an Armenian-American family, Hashian developed an early passion for percussion and spent years refining his craft. Success arrived suddenly when Boston exploded onto the music scene. Despite massive sales and tours, internal tensions and industry pressures followed. Hashian eventually stepped away from the band, choosing family and personal balance over continued exposure. Music remained central to his identity even outside mainstream attention. In later years, Hashian returned to performing in smaller, more intimate settings. Friends recalled that he appeared healthy and enthusiastic, enjoying the freedom of playing without pressure. The cruise performance was meant to be a joyful experience, shared with his wife and fans. There were no public signs of serious illness beforehand. The sudden collapse left loved ones unprepared, turning a relaxed moment into irreversible loss. The music world responded with respect and gratitude. Former bandmates acknowledged his role in creating one of the most enduring rock sounds in American history. Fans revisited Boston's music with renewed appreciation for the musicians behind it. Sib Hashian was remembered as a steady presence, devoted to his craft rather than fame. His legacy lives on in recordings that continue to define classic rock for new generations. Number 4. Nick Menza. On May 21, 2016, he collapsed during a performance at a club in Los Angeles. The incident occurred mid-set, stunning the audience and fellow musicians. Emergency responders attempted resuscitation, but doctors later confirmed heart failure as the cause. He had been actively touring and appeared energetic moments earlier. The sudden collapse ended a night meant to celebrate heavy metal history. Nick Menza was widely recognized as the former drummer of the band Megadeth during its most influential era. His technical precision and speed helped define the sound of several landmark albums that shaped American metal culture. Fans praised his ability to combine power with complexity. During the 1990s, his work reached millions through radio, tours, and award-winning releases. He became a reference point for aspiring drummers worldwide. His personal life included both privilege and pressure. Born into a musical family, his father was a respected jazz musician, giving Menza early exposure to professional music. That background fostered discipline, but also high expectations. Fame arrived quickly and brought relentless touring and industry stress. Injuries, lineup changes, and creative disagreements interrupted his career. Despite setbacks, he remained committed to music, teaching, recording, and collaborating across genres. In the period leading up to his passing, Menza had returned to live performance with renewed enthusiasm. Friends described him as optimistic and grateful for a second chapter. There were no public warnings of serious health decline. That night, he appeared focused and confident behind the drums. The physical demands of performance combined with underlying heart issues created a silent risk. The suddenness left family and fans struggling to process the loss. The reaction across the metal community was immediate and emotional. Fellow musicians credited Menza with raising technical standards and influencing countless players. Tributes highlighted his humility and dedication rather than controversy. Fans shared memories of concerts and recordings that shaped their youth. And Nick Menza remains part of the foundation of modern metal drumming. His legacy continues through the music that still inspires intensity, precision, and passion. Number 5. Richard Versailles. On January 5, 1996, he collapsed on stage during a performance at the Metropolitan Opera House in New York City. The moment occurred while he was singing a demanding role. Medical teams responded immediately, but he was later pronounced deceased. Doctors confirmed heart failure as the cause. The event unfolded in front of a live audience, turning a celebrated evening into a moment of stunned silence. Richard Versailles was a respected operatic tenor, admired by American classical audiences for his power, range, and dramatic presence. He performed with major opera companies and was particularly associated with the Metropolitan Opera. His repertoire included challenging contemporary works as well as traditional roles. Though not a household name in popular music, he was highly regarded within the opera world. His performances reflected discipline, precision, and a deep respect for the craft. His journey to prominence was marked by perseverance. Versailles served in the United States Army earlier in life, before fully committing to a professional singing career. He trained rigorously, understanding that opera demanded both physical endurance and emotional control. The path was not easy, requiring years of refinement and resilience. These experiences shaped his professionalism and seriousness on stage, earning him trust from directors, conductors, and fellow performers. In the period before his passing, Versailles was known to be intensely committed to his work. Opera roles placed extreme strain on the body, especially for aging performers. Colleagues later reflected that the role he was performing required sustained vocal force and physical stamina. Despite the demands, he continued performing without public complaint. The collapse came without warning, highlighting how hidden health risks can exist even among disciplined artists. The response from the classical music community was immediate and solemn. The Metropolitan Opera acknowledged the loss of a dedicated artist who gave everything to his performances. Fellow singers and conductors emphasized his professionalism and quiet strength. Audiences remembered the dignity he brought to the stage. Richard Versailles remains a symbol of devotion to art, remembered for his commitment and the seriousness with which he approached every performance. Number 6. Mike Scaccia. On December 22, 2012, he collapsed during a live performance at a club in Texas while playing on stage. Emergency responders arrived quickly, but he was pronounced deceased shortly afterward. Medical authorities confirmed heart failure as the cause. The incident happened in the middle of an energetic set, shocking bandmates and fans who had been watching moments earlier. Mike Scaccia was widely known as a founding guitarist of the metal band Ministry and a key figure in the American industrial metal movement. His aggressive playing style and precision helped define a genre that blended heavy guitar with electronic intensity. Ministry's music reached a wide audience in the United States and influenced countless bands. Scaccia was respected for his technical skill and relentless stage presence, becoming a symbol of uncompromising metal performance. His life was deeply intertwined with music from an early age. And, raised in Texas, he developed a passion for guitar and spent years refining his sound in local scenes before gaining national recognition. Success brought constant touring and long studio sessions. Scaccia was known as a perfectionist, demanding the highest standards from himself. That intensity fueled his creativity, but also placed continuous strain on his body and personal life. In the years leading up to his passing, Scaccia remained fully committed to performing. Friends noted that he appeared dedicated and focused, though the physical toll of decades of loud performances and travel was evident. He had recently returned to the stage with renewed enthusiasm, reconnecting with fans and fellow musicians. The performance where he collapsed was intended as a celebration of music and camaraderie, making the sudden loss especially painful for those present. The reaction from the metal community was immediate and emotional. Fellow artists described him as a driving force behind a defining sound in American metal. Fans shared memories of concerts that left lasting impressions. Tributes emphasized his authenticity and dedication rather than fame. Mike Scaccia is remembered as a musician who gave everything to his art. His influence continues through the music that still inspires intensity and loyalty. Share in the comments how his music impacted you. Number 7. David Olney. On January 18, 2020, He collapsed during a live performance at a music venue in Santa Rosa Beach, Florida. The incident happened while he was seated on stage, moments after beginning a song. Medical assistance was called immediately, but he was later pronounced deceased. Physicians confirmed heart failure as the cause. The quiet suddenness of the moment deeply affected everyone present. David Olney was a respected figure in American folk and roots music, admired especially by audiences who valued storytelling and lyrical depth. Though not a mainstream celebrity, he was widely known among musicians and devoted listeners. His songs were recorded by prominent artists and praised for their emotional honesty. Olney became a symbol of integrity in songwriting, representing a tradition where words, melody, and meaning carried equal weight. His life was shaped by persistence rather than instant success. Born in New York and raised in the American South, Olney spent decades performing in small venues and building a loyal following. He survived a serious accident earlier in life that nearly ended his career, deepening his reflective approach to music. Personal loss and long years on the road informed his writing. These experiences gave his songs a sense of lived truth. In the later stage of his career, Olney continued performing regularly despite age and physical wear. Friends noted that music remained central to his identity and emotional balance. The night of his passing, he appeared calm and focused, choosing to remain seated as he played. There had been no public warnings of severe illness. The collapse occurred without drama, reflecting the quiet dignity that defined his life and work. The response from the music community was immediate and heartfelt. Fellow songwriters described him as a writer's writer whose influence went beyond fame. Fans shared stories of songs that had guided them through difficult moments. Music organizations honored his contribution to American folk tradition. David Olney is remembered as an artist who stayed true to his voice. His legacy lives on through songs that continue to resonate with honesty and grace. Number 8. Jane Little. On January 18, 2016, she collapsed on stage during a performance with the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra in Atlanta, Georgia. The moment occurred near the end of the concert, just after the final notes. Medical personnel responded quickly, but she was later pronounced deceased. Doctors confirmed heart failure as the cause. She passed away doing the work she had loved for decades. Jane Little was an iconic figure in American classical music, best known as the longest-tenured musician in a major United States orchestra. She joined the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra in the late 1940s and remained with the ensemble for more than 7 decades. Her presence became a living symbol of dedication and continuity. Audiences admired her consistency, warmth, and quiet excellence. She represented stability in an art form often defined by change. Her life story reflected discipline and devotion rather than celebrity. Born in Mississippi, she discovered the double bass at a time when few women pursued such roles. She balanced music with family life, raising children while maintaining a demanding rehearsal and performance schedule. Her career spanned enormous cultural shifts, from post-war America to the modern era. These experiences shaped her calm professionalism and deep respect for collective artistry. In her later years, Little continued performing despite her age, showing little interest in retirement. Colleagues described her as mentally sharp and emotionally fulfilled by music. Family members later shared that performing kept her spirit young. There were no public indications of serious health decline before the concert. The collapse came suddenly, transforming a celebratory evening into a moment of reflection about devotion, aging, and purpose. The reaction across the classical music world was profound. The Atlanta Symphony Orchestra honored her as a foundational presence whose influence could not be replaced. Musicians across the country cited her as an inspiration for lifelong commitment to art. Audiences remembered her not for dramatic gestures, but for reliability and grace. Jane Little left behind a legacy of endurance, reminding the world that passion does not fade with time. Number 9. Joseph E. Howard. On September 19, 1931, he collapsed during a stage appearance in Wisconsin while preparing to perform. Witnesses reported that he suddenly lost strength and fell before the program could continue. Medical help was summoned, but doctors later confirmed heart failure as the cause. The incident ended a career that had unfolded largely under theater lights, closing his life in the same world that had defined him. Joseph E. Howard was a major figure in American entertainment during the early 20th century. He was a celebrated composer, lyricist, and performer in vaudeville and early musical theater. His songs were widely popular across the United States, performed in theaters and circulated through sheet music. He helped shape the sound of pre-Broadway popular music, becoming a recognizable name to audiences who followed live stage entertainment. His life reflected the rise of American show business itself. Born in the late 19th century, Howard entered entertainment when vaudeville dominated popular culture. He experienced both success and instability, including professional rivalries and personal upheaval. The demands of constant travel and performance placed pressure on his health and relationships. Despite these challenges, he remained committed to the stage, viewing performance as both livelihood and identity. In his later years, Howard continued appearing publicly even as the entertainment industry shifted toward radio and film. The physical toll of decades in show business was evident, though little was discussed openly at the time. Friends later recalled signs of exhaustion and declining strength. His collapse came during a routine professional appearance, turning an ordinary theatrical moment into an irreversible ending shaped by years of strain. The reaction within theatrical circles was solemn and respectful. Fellow performers recognized him as part of a generation that built American popular entertainment from the ground up. Newspapers acknowledged his contribution to music and stage culture. Though time has dimmed his name for modern audiences, his influence remains embedded in the foundations of musical theater. Joseph E. Howard is remembered as a pioneer whose life and career were inseparable from the stage. Number 10. Colonel Bruce Hampton. On May 1, 2017, he collapsed during a live performance at a theater in Atlanta, Georgia, while celebrating his own birthday on stage. The moment occurred near the end of the show as he stood among fellow musicians. Medical assistance was provided immediately, but he was later pronounced deceased. Doctors confirmed heart failure as the cause. The night ended in silence and disbelief. Colonel Bruce Hampton was a cult figure in American jam band culture, known for his experimental approach and refusal to follow commercial expectations. He led multiple projects, most famously the Band Aquarium Rescue Unit, which influenced a generation of improvisational musicians. Though rarely mainstream, his reputation was legendary among devoted fans. Many well-known artists credited him as a mentor who valued creativity over fame and authenticity over success. His life followed an unconventional path shaped by independence and curiosity. Hampton served in the United States military earlier in life before turning fully to music. He rejected industry pressures and avoided traditional career structures, choosing constant reinvention instead. This approach limited mass recognition but earned deep respect within musical circles. His personality, often described as eccentric and philosophical, shaped a career defined more by influence than charts. In the years leading up to his passing, Hampton remained active and energetic, performing frequently and collaborating with younger musicians. Friends noted that he appeared healthy and mentally sharp, showing no public signs of serious illness. The birthday concert was meant to be joyful and communal, reflecting his belief that music was a shared experience. The sudden collapse transformed a celebration into a moment of profound loss for those closest to him. The reaction from the music community was immediate and emotional. Musicians described him as a guiding force whose lessons extended beyond music into life itself. Fans spoke of concerts that felt transformative rather than entertaining. Industry figures acknowledged his quiet but lasting impact. Colonel Bruce Hampton left behind a legacy rooted in freedom, experimentation, and sincerity. His influence continues through the artists he inspired and the philosophy he lived by. Thank you for spending this time with us. If these stories matter to you, consider subscribing so you do not miss the next chapter. Take care, and we will see you again soon.